Hi everyone. Um, just gonna give it a couple minutes to allow other people to join. Whilst we're waiting, please go ahead and scan that QR code, which will take you to our early careers page. And if you want to be kept up to date about any of our um, roles that are coming up or any in-person events that are near you, then please join our talent community. You can opt in on really specific comms and email notifications. And if there's any sort of line of service that you're really keen on joining or any virtual park events that you really want to attend, they're a really good way to keep on track. And yeah, keep in contact with us. So yeah, please go ahead and scan that QR code. I will just wait a couple minutes just to make sure that everyone's got a chance to settle in, join, that kind of thing before I start the introduction. I'll just give it till 3 minutes past. But yeah, please, whoever, for those of you who have just joined, please go ahead and scan that QR code that's on the webinar page on the screen right now. Yeah, and that will take you to our early careers page. And if you didn't feel like filling in the form for the talent community page, please go back to it and fill it out because it is a really, really great way to keep in touch with us and receive email notifications for any jobs that are coming up, any events, whether they be in person or on our virtual park. It's a really great way to stay in touch and connect with us. So I really, really highly recommend sort of, signing up when you can, whether that be throughout whilst I'm talking or the can you drop the link in here? Yes, that's a great idea. I can do that as well. Let me just grab that up. Um, there you go. Thank you very much for the person who suggested it. So I've just dropped the link in the chat as well. So if you don't have your mobile phone to hand, um, you can just pop onto that page. So yeah, so welcome everybody. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I really appreciate it. So my name is Snow. I'm one of the Student Recruitment Senior Associates here at PWC, and I will be presenting to you today, and I will be the host to the panel, which will be taking place slightly later on. So just a few housekeeping rules before we get started. At the bottom of your screen on your right hand side, you'll see two different functions called questions and chat. So throughout this presentation, if you have any questions for me or our panelists later on, please pop them into the question chat. You don't need to wait until the end. Just keep popping them in, to the questions chat, and then we will address your questions at the end during the panel. And then there are some interactive bits in this session. There isn't a hands up function on this platform. So if you wanted to pop some answers in there in the chat function, not the questions function, the chat function, please pop your answers in there if you want to interact with us. And then I'll read out some of the responses and stuff as we go through. Okie doke. So let's get started. So yes, like I said, my name is Snow. I'm from PWC, and today we're going to be talking about personal brand. The agenda for this afternoon is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about PwC, what we do here, and then go straight into the importance of personal brand, and then why your personal brand is important when it comes to um, you know building relationships and also how you represent yourself in the workspace. And then we're going to go into a little bit about how to build and discover your personal brand. And then at the end, we're going to go in for the Q&A panel. So who are PWC? So we are a professional services firm. So what that essentially means is that you will never find our logo or brand on a specific product that's on the shelf of a store. So our product is our people. So we provide a wide range of services. We're a really large firm. So we've got over 25,000 employees in the UK and with almost 328,000 employees all over the world. And we operate in 152 countries. We are currently the #1 employer in the top time 100 graduate employers list. And in the UK alone, we have 19 offices. So any sort of big city that you can think of, we probably have an office there. So I'm coming through to you from Cardiff. So I work as a recruiter for audit for our West and Wales offices, which is our Bristol and Cardiff offices. And then we are one of the largest we are one of the UK's largest recruiters of graduates and school leavers. And we work with a wide range of clients. So right now we're working with approximately 25,000 clients, helping them to create the value that they're looking for. So two screens. Here we go. So what do we actually do? So when people hear the word PWC or professional services, especially PWC, they think Big Four, but essentially not a lot of people know what it is that we do. So we offer pretty much any service that a company or a firm might need. So whether that be consulting, auditing, deals, risk, technology. So we do have 10 lines of service or business areas, which is essentially like departments. So there's 10 different lines of services that we work in. So for the panel, we've got some colleagues from our consulting line of service. We've also got some colleagues from audit, which are our two biggest lines of services. So yes, PwC provides industry-focused services to public and private clients. Our strategy is to be tech-enabled, deliver exceptional value to our clients, and empower our people, lead by example, and invest in sustainable growth. And the focus of our purpose and values informs the services that we provide and the decisions that we make. In terms of what's on offer for you guys, so we offer a wide range of work experience and graduate opportunities for those in university. So graduate programs. So we have 3 different intakes, which is our winter, spring, and autumn intakes. And if you were to apply for a role as a graduate with us, the duration ranges from 2 years to 4 years, depending on the program that you're on. And then depending on the line of service that you join, there are opportunities to do a professional qualification, which is all funded by PwC. And this opportunity is available for those of you who are in your final year. And we offer grad programs in 9 business areas. And for those of you who are in your second year of university, we do offer summer internships as well. And our internships range from 4 weeks to 8 weeks, and these are all paid internships. And yeah, so they're available for students in penultimate year. So second years if you're in a 3-year program, and third years if you're on a 4-year program. And then this can also get you a head start for your graduate role. So if you are successful in securing a summer internship and you complete it successfully, then we would give you, or we hope that we could give you a graduate offer as well, and you don't have to go through the recruitment process again. We also offer work placement opportunities. So this is for your sandwich years, your placement years, however your university calls it, your industry years. So yeah, 11 months. And this is available for students going into their third year, with also an opportunity to join us as a grad as well. We also have our uh, 3-day paid internships. So we have our Women in Business and Black Talent in Business 3-day paid work experience. So they take place typically in the spring, and this is available for university students who are in their first year. And this is a really good opportunity for you to get to know the firm, how we operate within the firm. And also, it's good to get a head start because this could lead on to opportunities to do a summer internship with us or a grad program with us as well. So, let's go into personal branding. So, what is personal branding? So, to define personal branding, your personal brand is how you promote yourself. Um, It is a unique combination of skills and experiences and your personality that you want the world to see. And it tells a story about yourself and how, and just your personal brand is how you sort of the atmosphere that you give off, how you make other people feel through your behavior, how you speak, or and your attitude as well. And this is really important. So, not just about how you dress or the aesthetics, but about really about your attitude and your outlook and your personality within university, within the workplace. So, yeah, it's really important. And today we're going to touch on a bit about why it's important and also what you can do to stand out. So, why is it important? So, your personal impact is an important part of shaping your brand. So, without realizing, we are constantly creating and building our own personal brand through everything that we do and the impact that we have. So, it impacts how people feel about you in the workplace, how you make people feel in the workplace, and just not just in the workplace as well, just in your day-to-day life. So whether you're a student, whether you're an entrepreneur, or once you become a professional, whether you're a teacher, an accountant, your personal brand does mean everything because it affects your reputation, your network, and also it is a symbol of what unique value you bring. So in the workplace, if you're consistently producing a high quality of work, then your personal brand becomes one where people can rely on you. You're a trustworthy person. So yeah, it is really important in sort of how we display ourselves and what other people see within us. So okay, so ask yourself these few questions. Feel free to take a picture of it if you wanted to do it another time. So the first question is, how well do you know your own personal brand? One being very well, and five being extremely well. If you did want to pop in the chat right now, um, about some of you, whether for question one, how well do you know your personal brand, just so I can gauge the audience and how other people sort of interpret it. For me personally, I would say I'm like a three or a four, because I have been working for a while. Yeah, three, we've got a three, that's great. um, yeah, I think three, I think it's like the middle ground. I think you can always sort of learn more about yourself, especially as you get older and you deal with different experiences and stuff. But for now, I think two, three, that's absolutely fine. Yep, we've got a couple twos in there as well. So hopefully after today's session, you'll go through, reflect a little bit, and then we can get those twos up to like a three or a four. So how important do you think your personal brand is? So how okay, perfect. Oh, great. Yep. So three, yep. And then and then how easily can you recognize somebody else's personal brand? So we've got someone who has said one. Um, and then there are some questions on these slides as well, which will make you question how you recognize some other people's personal brands as well. One, two, yeah. So maybe not so well at recognizing other people's personal brands, but we sort of know ours a little bit better, which is absolutely normal. And how do you feel comfortable identifying your strengths and values? So for question four, how question four, five, yeah. How comfortable do you feel identifying your strengths and values? Yeah, this is a really, that question is really about reflection. Um, in order for us to identify our strengths, we also need to sort of know what our weaknesses are and things like that. So yeah, it's really about really getting to know yourself. So, oops. So your personal brand. So um, the next question is, how long does it take for our first impressions or judgments of people to become fully formed and stable? So I'll leave a couple seconds for everyone to. So is it 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, or a day? Got a couple 5 minutes. Yep, 30. Yep, well, we got a nice mixture. Okay, fab. So the answer is actually 30 seconds. So um, research shows that our impressions of others can be fully formed within 30 seconds. And once our opinion of someone has been formed, it's quite difficult to change it. And we sort of focus more on reinforming our initial opinion of them rather than looking at the characteristics or aspects that makes us think otherwise. So for example, if you meet someone and you had a really good first impression of them, it's really, and you just pick out more and more things about that person that you like, to sort of reinstate what you initially thought rather than seeing the bad things about people. And then that works the other way as well. So this is why it doesn't mean that you can't change your opinions of someone as you get to know them a bit more, but it just means that the first opinion of something, like whether that be a firm, whether that be a person, whether that be a shop or a restaurant, that sticks with you more. So that's why it's really important that we sort of make a really good first impression and we have a really strong personal brand that a lot of people associate us with. So, yeah, importance of first impressions. So, first impressions are crucial as they often shape how others perceive and judge us. So, they can influence various aspects of our personal lives and professional lives. And here are some key points highlighting the importance of first impressions. So, lasting impact, relationship building, professional opportunities. And this is a really important one because sometimes how a lot of people feel is they might think, oh, initially I made this one minor error, and now every time I feel like I do something really well, my manager or my team aren't recognizing it because they associate me as someone who made that minor error, or vice versa. If you make a really great first impression to your manager and your team, even if you make small errors along the way, they aren't highlighted as much because they associate you as the person who came in, gave a glowing impression. So professional, and then that obviously affects your professional opportunities down the line as well. Credibility and trust, and non-verbal communication. So this one is really important. So with non-verbal communication, it's about your demeanor, your whether you're a really smiley person, whether you're a really positive person. So it's not just about your written work or your presentations or things like that, but it's about how you make other people feel, your attitude. And then influence on decision making, that's also really important, whether that's with a potential client or a customer. Your first impression will have an impact on someone's decision of something. And then again, number 7, really important, personal branding. So they shape how we are perceived by others and can impact our reputation as well and how we're remembered. So yeah, these are some of the things why first impressions are so important. So, what first impressions do you have of these people? So, when I got sent these slides, I found this quite interesting. I played this little game with myself. So, what first impressions do you have of? And then you can type it in the chat. You can just pick one basically, and then I'll read out a couple. So, yeah, number 1, we've got Taylor Swift. Number 2, we've got Molly May Haig. Number 3, we've got Piers Morgan. And number 4, we've got Richie Sunak. So, I'll just read out a couple that we have here. Number 1, music. 4, politics. Yep. Number 3, controversial. Yep. Unpersonable. Yep. Number 2, unknown. That's fine. So yeah, based on their jobs. So a couple of people said musician, based on their jobs, based on their personality, based on what we read about them in the news, or some of the decisions that they make, or some of the headlines that they're associated with. That's how we see them, and not so much as, that's not their personal brand, but it's associated with their behavior, their jobs, their clothing maybe, or how they dress, or maybe the opinions that they have, that they obviously, as they're public figures, that they've made really um, sort of obvious. So yeah, so our impressions of them are based on those small snippets of, things that we see about them in the news or on social media or things like that. So, personal brand mistakes. So, there are several ways you can damage your own personal brand, and here are just a few examples. So, obviously, it's not like a black and white situation, and I'll highlight as to why. So, online presence. So, having an inconsistent or unprofessional online presence can damage your personal brand. This includes having inappropriate or offensive content on your social media profiles, inconsistent messaging across different platforms, or neglecting to update your online profiles regularly. So the part about inappropriate and offensive content on your social media profiles, absolutely. Um, this absolutely will have an impact on your personal brand. As some of you mentioned um, previously, I saw the word dishonest with one of the people that we had on the slides. So because of what we see about them on the news, and the opinions that they state openly, that does have an impact on their personal brand and how we perceive them. So that one is absolutely true. Inconsistent messaging across different platforms, yeah, absolutely. And then neglecting to update your online profiles regularly. So this one is like a 50-50. So if you're someone who is not so much on social media all the time, like that's absolutely fine. If all of your social medias and stuff are private, and you update it like once every couple months, that's absolutely fine as well. But in this sense, what we mean is if you go through periods, for example, on LinkedIn, and you go through a period where you're adding everybody, you're posting so much, and people think that's a way where they can get in touch with you, and all of a sudden you don't reply to any messages, you stopped accepting people, you stopped posting, then that can come off as a bit like, oh, like, are they annoyed at me? Like, have they, are they not in this position anymore? So that can give off that sort of persona. So yeah, if you are someone who is actively, it is high maintenance. So if you are someone who is quite active, I would say mainly on LinkedIn, like your personal Instagrams and stuff, that's absolutely fine. But mainly on LinkedIn, just keep the activity quite um, sort of regular and consistent. And then communication skills. So, communication is a crucial aspect of personal branding. So, if you consistently demonstrate poor communication skills, such as being unresponsive to emails or messages, using inappropriate language, or being disrespectful in your interactions, it can negatively impact how other people perceive you. And integrity. So, acting in an unethical or dishonest manner can significantly damage your personal branding. This includes lying, cheating, or engaging in any behavior that compromises with your integrity. And building trust is essential for strong personal brand. And any actions that undermine trust can have long-lasting consequences. So, an example of that can be as minor as even liking a sort of inappropriate post or something. With social media, everything can be traced back to us, so something as minor as sort of liking a comment, like a nasty comment on someone's I don't know, TikTok or something, in order to show support to that not very nice comment, like that can affect our personal brand as well. And lastly, professionalism. So displaying unprofessional behavior such as being constantly late, not meeting deadlines, or being disrespectful to colleagues or clients can damage your personal brand. So professionalism is highly valued in most industries, and failing to uphold those standards can obviously affect your personal brand negatively as well. So I'm sure you get repeated this all the time, but building your personal brand, it can take a really long time. You will have to be in a certain position or working with certain people for quite a while to build that rapport with them, but it only takes a few moments to damage your own personal brand. So always be mindful of these things. So, building and discovering your brand. So, here are a few things that we can do on the journey of building and discovering our own brand. So, the first one is discover. So, in order to really understand who you are and carve out the career path moving forward, investing in self discovery of what you want your brand to look like, and what's important to you. That's like the first thing that you can ask yourself, and just start by asking yourself, what do I want to be known for? And then once you've figured out what it is that you want to be known for, you can go ahead and create your personal brand toolkit, which is consistent of a blog, CV, or online application, portfolio, social media, all of that stuff. So my personal advice to those of you who don't have LinkedIn is I highly, highly, highly recommend getting started on LinkedIn, have a really nice, appropriate picture. It doesn't have to be like one of those corporatey ones that you see. It can just be sort of like a really nice, a clear photo of you, clear photo of your face, like no sunglasses or anything like that, and like a nice background, and just, posting regularly and, connecting with people in the industry that you want to go into. But also, the other thing I would say is when you're first starting off, it can be really tempting to message loads of people and ask them loads of different questions and stuff. Just be respectful of that sort of boundary. LinkedIn is still a social media page, so you don't want to be known as that person who is like adding every single person from that specific um, brand. Like for example, if you want to work for Feel Unique, or if you want to work for like PWC or any company, you don't want to be known as that person who was adding every single employee um, from that company and just messaging them to be like, hey, how did you get your job? Or hey, what do you love about your job? Because obviously people in the firm will talk and stuff. So yeah, there's a fine line, but yeah, start building your LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn community, make sure everything is up to date. So the degree that you're studying, the university that you're studying, connect with your friends as well. Um, and yeah, if you are interested in making a blog or a website or anything like that, or like sort of sprucing up your social media profiles and things, so yeah, make sure you start creating the brand that you want to be known for. So if you want to be known as someone who is really knowledgeable in a certain industry, or if you're really into journalism and reporting on certain current affairs and stuff, then you can start posting about those things. Just make sure it's really consistent to what it is that you want to be known for, and then communicate. So then it's time to use everything that you have created to let people know that you exist. So networking, communicating at school, university. So yeah, communication is really important in building your personal brand. There's no point in having a really fancy um, CV that you've created, that you spend hours and hours on, or like spending loads of time on LinkedIn, making sure everything's up to date, but you're not really connecting with people, or other people aren't seeing the work that you've put into it. So, really be sure to communicate everything that you've sort of created, just by networking. And even when you at university, if you want to join societies or things like that, like we talked about before, personal branding isn't just about what's written on a piece of paper or what's written on a website. It's about your personality, your attitude. So when you join different societies and stuff, and you want to be known as the person who's really helpful or really friendly or really reliable, and you join different societies, or you're doing group work at universities and stuff, you can bring that personal brand into your day-to-day life as well. And then maintain. So as you grow, mature, and accelerate in your career, everything you've created has to be updated. So this is really, really important. So for me personally, I love looking at LinkedIn. I look at it a bit too much, just because I'm a bit nosy as well. I like to know what other people are doing in terms of their jobs and stuff. And I that's one of the ways where I get relevant news for my industry. But something that I have to be really mindful of is always updating it as my career progresses. So if I do have any of you on LinkedIn, or if any of you do add me on LinkedIn, you'll see that my job is always up to date, my bio is always up to date, and if I get a new certification or anything like that, I always add that in there as well. And then in terms of discovering your brand, start thinking of examples for each of these. So if you feel free to take a photo of this, take a screenshot of this as well, and then go away and have a think about it later on today. So the skills that you possess, so the ability to successfully enact a repeatable process, and then values, so a judgment of what is important or of high worth. Your image, so how much others perceive you, is an authentic match to your sense of self as well. So what we mean by this is you don't want to portray something that's going to be quite different from who you truly are. So make sure it is a clear, authentic match to your actual personality. And same with image as well. Like um, that can either mean physically or as your personal image. Oh, I don't know why this slide keeps changing. Um, Not sure if not just your physical personality, but it can be sort of the sense that you want to give off, but also like you want to look like yourself in the photos that you upload and things like that as well. So that's also really important. And then experience, so an event or occurrence which leaves a lasting impression. And then your skills. So these next slides, it's a lot of self-reflection. So what we're going to do is we're literally, please feel free to just screenshot these and have a think about these, because we don't have a function where I can sort of hear you and everything. I'm just going to like sort of run through these. So yeah, things to be mindful of. So what are the strengths that others acknowledge in me? When working in a team, what roles do I seek to fulfill? When faced with an obstacle, what are my go-to skills to overcome? And what are the most important team role that I fulfilled and why? And then again, what skills and values came up over and over again? What's my motivation? What are my motivating skills? The skills that excite me. When strengths and skills are going to be the most helpful in achieving my career, and what skills would I like to build, but not had yet to the opportunity to practice? And then values again. So, what are your values? What's your North Star? What values are like your personal compass? So, your personal brand should match with your personal values. So, whether you're a really sustainable person or whether there are some beliefs that you're sort of, that you strongly believe in, which will sort of point you in the right direction of how you want your personal brand to be like. Definitely have a think of these as well. And then, yeah, please do feel free to screenshot these. And then this is just a cluster of words that comes to mind when we think of value. So again, please feel free to take a photo or screenshot of these. I won't like go through every single one of them, but some of the ones which are like, quite common is knowledge, excellence, empathy, prosperity, and growth. So yeah, just a couple, words to associate yourself with if you did want to. And then image. So your image should be authentic and aligned to your personal brand's values. So it should reflect who you are and what you stand for. And consistently maintaining a positive and professional image will help you build a strong personal brand that resonate with others. And people often make the mistake of thinking the image is just about how you look, like your clothes and stuff, but that's not really um, the only thing. So really important is how you sound, your accent, your tone. Tone is so important, and the volume and the choice of words that you use, how you act, and also your online presence. So yeah, a couple things to consider when you're thinking of image. So what words would you use to describe how you look? How would you describe your voice and communication style? And what would people learn about you just from seeing or hearing like your voice, basically? So a couple things to think about. Sorry, I am going through these really quickly, but it's because we don't have like a very interactive like poll or something that we could like use this with. But please do take these into consideration when you are building or thinking about building your personal brand. And then it's like this slide, for example, like there's no way we can fill this in together, but definitely take a screenshot of this and have a look. So now it's time to think of your experience and share your story. So please do take a screenshot of this and just have a little think, because when I was running through these slides, I found this quite interesting in terms of like what are some of your proudest achievements to date. And when you are building your personal brand and when you are building your LinkedIn and stuff, definitely include these in your bio or where you can, whether that be in, if you speak multiple languages or things like that, definitely include those in the relevant sections because that's so important. And out of the achievements you have listed, which of them best demonstrate who you are as a person? So that's a really good way to think, and that will really help with writing your bio as well. So time is 2:35, so I would like to introduce to you our Q&A panel. So we've got four lovely colleagues. So if you wouldn't mind joining the stage, we're just going to wait for them, and I will drop them a message as well. Go, some of them are coming in. Great. Hello. So yes, we've got amazing. So yeah, we've got Noah, Millie, Ada, and David. So I will just, if you wanted to go in order of how your pictures are laid out, if you wouldn't mind just doing a quick intro about yourself, that would be great. So yeah, take it away.
Cool. Yeah, thank you, Snow. Yeah, hi guys. My name's Noah. I work in audit at the London EP office. So it's one of two offices in London. And I studied at the University of Southampton. For anyone that doesn't know what audit is, essentially what we do is companies that are over a certain size are required by law to have their accounts checked by a third party. So PWC is a company that provides that service. So we're a third party that sort of checks that companies are representing themselves accurately in their financial accounts. But yeah, that's me. So yeah, Millie, take it away.
Perfect. Thank you, Noah. So just a little bit of an overview about me. I'm a management consultant, and I guess we love to talk. So I'll give you just a really brief intro about myself and my career so far. So I studied history at the University of Exeter. If any of you went there, I absolutely loved it. It was really, really fun, really interesting. During my time at university, I actually did the Women in Business programme. So one of the things that Snow mentioned to you earlier. If you've got any questions about that, obviously feel free and I can hopefully answer that. That was a really good experience and a great way to get into PwC after. So I accepted my offer when I was in third year, which was nice because I had time to think about my dissertation and not have too much to worry about. And I also deferred it for a year so that I could go traveling, do some tutoring, and I guess come into my career completely fresh after a year of relaxing and seeing lots of exciting things. So now I'm a management consultant. I started last November. I work in Birmingham, but I'm in London at the moment as my client is based in London. Consulting is amazing. Hopefully you guys have got some questions about it. But it's such an interesting and varied job, really sociable, really challenging, but also really, really rewarding. And I'd say personal brand is absolutely crucial when it comes to consulting as well. So yeah, excited to hear some of your questions, but I'll pass over to Ada.
Thanks, Millie. Hi, guys. My name is Ada. I work in audit line of service in Manchester office. I'm originally from Kazakhstan, and I went to the University of Sheffield. I did economics. I did my master's as well. So then I went to work in the industry as an investment consultant. So after a few years working there, I decided to change my career and I applied to PWC. So I applied to graduate program. If you have any questions, and I saw that you've got a few questions about what grade you need to be to apply to graduate program or any overseas applications, I'll be happy to answer. Thanks.
Yeah, so finally, my name's David. Lovely to meet you all. Like Millie, I also do consulting, but I specialise in HR consulting. I went to the University of Bath. I studied international management and French, and spent a year living in Paris, where I worked for a French bank in internal HR, which sort of gave me my passion for HR. Who knew you could be passionate about HR? And then I thought, I'll try consulting. So I joined the firm in September. I also sit in the London Embankment Place office with Noah. And yeah, very happy to answer any questions to do with consulting, niche areas, and what's life like in London. So I'll hand back to Snow.
Thank you so much, everyone. So yeah, I can see that a couple of questions are coming in already, which is great. Please keep the questions coming in. We've got we've got some time put aside just for the Q&A panel. So how it's going to work is I'm going to read out the relevant questions to everyone, and our panelists will take turns answering it. But if there is any general questions that you have about PWC or about the lines of services that these guys are working in right now, please pop them into the questions chat right now, and then yeah, we can get going. So the first question that we've got is, I was wondering what grades are expected to be considered for an internship and graduate position. So Ada's already mentioned that she's happy to take this one.
Definitely, yes. So as I changed my career from investment to audit, I had no clue about audit at that time, and no accounting knowledge so far. So what grades you can apply, I think, at any grade to a graduate program. So for me personally, it was a great opportunity because, as I said, I didn't have any audit experience or any knowledge in accounting. So I was absolutely lost at the beginning with all the credits and debits. So yeah, I was highly encouraged to apply to the graduate program if you want to start your career from the start in audit. Yeah, definitely.
So just to echo what Ada said, we don't actually have a minimum grade requirement for our graduate positions. You just need a pass in an undergraduate degree. So the next question, I think all of you can give some advice on this. Maholt has said, as a law student, what are some ways I can make my application stronger, or any resources that you can direct them to in order to get a stronger understanding of the industry? So for you guys, what did you do to make your application stand out? And do you have any tips for the candidates who are applying right now?
Yeah, I suppose I'll start us off. What I will say is it might potentially is different for applying. I don't know if you apply to sort of the law stream at PwC, but in my case, applying to audit, I'd say it was quite heavily weighted as to how you perform in sort of the interviews and the assessments and stuff. So even if you don't have as much experience in terms of like internships or anything like that, it really boils down to just how well you can really come across, which I suppose links back to the personal branding you were speaking about earlier, Snow. So sort of how well you come across in the interviews, how well you perform in the assessments. So yeah, I just think sort of, apply to whatever scheme takes your fancy, and whatever you think you'd be a good fit for, and just give it your all, really, and just see how it works out, I suppose.
Yeah, I'd like to sort of add to that point as well. I think having a really genuine passion for what you're doing is really, really important. So being honest about how much you're interested in it and doing the research as well. I mean, I did a degree that wasn't related to consulting at all, but I spent time reading about consulting. I bought a couple of books. I did some research online. I spoke to people, and it really gave me a proper interest in it. And that's really important to come across in your application. As well. So researching PwC, researching other consultancies, finding some case studies, for example, that's really good to talk about. And also the other thing is showing off your skills. Like, don't be afraid to kind of toot your own horn, because that's essentially what everyone's doing. You're not going to be the odd one out and look silly. You're gonna fit in if you really do show off your skills, show examples of where you've done things, think outside the box, and yeah, just be really, really genuine. And say that's my advice there.
Yeah, I'd say my final bit of advice would be, PwC know we're graduates. We haven't done it before necessarily. They're not expecting you to be experts in this. Like, I'm helping design the HR operating model function. I have no idea. What they're interested in is your skills. Like, how have you shown that you've worked in a team well? How have you shown that you're adaptable, that you're keen to learn? And for me, that was the key thing during the interviews and the application phases. Very heavily focused on your skills. Like, as Minnie said, you need to have interest in the knowledge, some understanding of the industry. But it's very like, you need to show your skills. Like, I remember I did like the STAR scenarios. It's like, what's your situation? What was the task? What actions did you do? And then what's the result? And I think when you answer a question using that framework, it's really helpful and really shows how you've demonstrated, even if it's just in group coursework, doing a dissertation, anything like that.
Absolutely agree with everyone. But first things is apply as soon as possible, of course. And the second thing, definitely show your passion, because you will spend more than a year doing working here. So definitely you need to love what you will do in the future. And the third thing is teamwork, because I work in the audit and the teamwork is an absolutely must-have skill, because it's a group work. It's not a race, and it's not a individual person's work. So it will help you during your interviews as well. Absolutely, teamwork.
Thank you so much. So we've got a lot of people interested in consulting by the looks of it. So one question that we've received is, what is the difference between management consulting and HR consulting? So does one of the consultants want to take this question?
Possibly me, because I suppose I'm the niche one. So I say what Millie does is, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is a lot broader. You cover so many different aspects of the business, whereas I am very niche. I purely look at the HR function. And I'd say it's because it's quite a complex thing. You need that special expertise, which Millie doesn't have. No, I'm sure Millie is a great HR job. But yeah, so I suppose that is, I also bizarrely sit in the tax line of service. So we sit in a team with like pensions, anything to do with people, like pay, rewards, diversity and inclusion. So we're just very, very focused on the actual people, how the workforce, like how are you structured? How are we going to support you? How are you going to get paid? What's the diversity and inclusion? Everything to do with that. So I suppose that's the biggest difference.
Thank you very much. So another consulting related question is it a suitable role for introverts? And have you got any advice on what skills are required to be successful as a consultant?
I don't mind taking that first, David. Obviously, feel free to take some of it as well. So I don't think necessarily being an introvert is an issue. I think everyone's completely unique in consulting. I work with so many different people every day, and I think everyone's so uniquely different that just saying that if you're an introvert you can't do it wouldn't be correct at all. I think it's definitely important to be able to go outside your comfort zone though. Even kind of in the projects that I'm doing at the moment, I'm relatively new to the firm, but kind of in the first couple of weeks I got quite a lot of responsibility put on my shoulders. I had to present to the client on my own, I had to have client discussions on my own, and you've got to be prepared to go outside of your comfort zone and do something you're not necessarily that confident in, and it comes, like, the confidence really comes. I wouldn't say I used to be a particularly confident person, but I spent a lot of time doing tutoring actually last year, so teaching kind of GCSE and A-level stuff. That got me really used to talking to people over like virtually. It got me a lot more confident when talking to people I don't know. So I do really think it's something that you can work on if you think it's something that could potentially be an issue. And genuinely, I don't think that you'd be disadvantaged at all. You've just got to be prepared to do what it takes and go outside your comfort zone. In terms of skills, I think you probably need quite a broad range of skills in consulting, but like I said, there's no kind of set expectations. Like, it's what you can really bring to the table that's important. So being willing to work really hard is important. Sometimes you do have to accept that it might be long hours, you might have to put in that extra push at the end of the week, but hard working always pays off. So that's really, really important. Being dedicated, being supportive to your team, working well in a team is super, super, super important, because everything we do is on projects and in teams. Being able to communicate well is also really important, and again, something that you can work on. I will say with consulting as well, we get 5 weeks training at the start of our career. So back in November, I spent 5 weeks down in London doing our consulting training, and the amount of change I saw across a lot of people during those 5 weeks was just incredible. So I think genuinely, if you can be yourself and showcase yourself, some of those things you can work on over the course of the first few months or over the course of your career. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful.
Thank you, Millie. So next question is about training. So Noah and Millie's already touched a bit on the training that she received when she first started. Noah and Ada, do you guys want to talk about the training you received as auditors when you first began at PwC?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think with audit, so what you do is like a professional qualification alongside. So you train to be a chartered accountant. So the training is sort of split between the technical sort of exams that you do as part of your qualification, and then also the sort of internal training as well that PwC provide. And I mean, really, when you join PwC, you're joining an international, huge, renowned firm who, you know, really invests a lot in their training, and it really shows, because the training is sort of, you know, top quality. I remember just the month just gone, all my sort of intake, so September 2023, we all went on sort of an audit training, a 4-week sort of thing. We went to this venue in London with like free lunch provided. It was quality food as well. Yeah, we had the whole sort of venue, and yeah, the training is really top notch. They really do invest a lot of time and money into training their graduates. So yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, we do get internal training, and we do get ACA PQ days. So if you're worried about how I'm going to have this balance between client work and study and all this training, PwC gives you that PQ days where you solely focus on your studies, ACA studies, and those internal training days where you solely focus on your internal training. So you will get that balance between all the trainings and ACA and the client work. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm just going through the questions now. So Millie's already touched on this already, but if anyone wanted to talk about how they found, so does anyone on the panel, did they come without experience? So I'm guessing like most of you who joined on the graduate program, you won't have had relevant experience like Millie mentioned, but do you think having experience in the industry benefits the work that you do? Or for those of you who didn't have any industry experience, has that made a difference to your career so far?
Yeah, I'd have something to say about that. I think personally, I did do an internship in audit before, but in my cohort, there are the absolute vast majority, I'd say a good 70 or 80% of people didn't have any experience in any sort of corporate role. So I do really think sort of links back to what I was saying before with they really do invest a lot into your training. And when you come, you are sort of expected not to know anything yet. So, you know, you have a lot of coaching, which is, you know, sort of informal training on the job. And yeah, so honestly, if you don't have any relevant experience, then I would say it just still apply. It's really not a big deal. It's really just about how you perform in those interviews and those assessments and stuff. And then yeah, once you've got the job, you're sort of, you know, you really are just sort of invested in. So yeah, I would absolutely just say it's not an issue at all.
And another question that we've just had is, what would you say sets PwC apart from other similar firms in terms of the work that we do, and how would you describe the culture here at PwC? Anyone can take this one, I don't mind.
I suppose I can start. For me, the big difference is the culture. I feel it's just such a lovely culture, at least in my team. Like, I chat regularly to the partners, to the directors. There's the hierarchy in terms of your job title, but actually on the office floor, we're all the same. Like, you know, I was on holiday last week, and the partner today, welcomed me back and asked me how my holiday went and everything like that, which for me to be able to speak to someone that senior is really, really cool. And likewise, though, we have these client meetings and you have these big workshops, and I'm allowed to join and participate, and they're really interested in me developing myself and giving me those opportunities, which for me is what definitely makes PwC stand out compared to what I've heard from other friends, other grads who've worked at other, Big Four firms.
I'd also like to add something as well, just about the culture in general, is that there's such a wide variety of people. There really is genuinely someone or a group of people for everyone. There's all different sort of networks for different, faiths, different backgrounds. There's people from sort of all over the world that work here. And I really would say the culture is so sociable. There's, socials going on all the time. And even if you don't drink, for example, there's also a lot of options there as well. There are plenty of socials that aren't just sort of focused around, going to the pub and stuff. So there really is something for everyone. And I really would say it's just a really, really sociable culture. And everyone's really nice and accepting. And it's just such a wide variety of people.
Thank you so much. We've got a couple questions in the chat about when applications will open. So our applications open in September. Most of our jobs go on live in September. So what I really recommend is do sign up to our talent community page, and then you can select what line of service you're interested in. So whether that be audit like Noah and Ada, or whether that be consulting like Millie and David, you can select the lines of services you're interested in, the locations in our 19 offices, and then that will then give you emails as soon as that specific job goes on live. Just some housekeeping caveats as well is that you can only have one live application at once. So you cannot apply for a management consulting role in Birmingham and then apply for an audit role in Manchester. Whichever job that you applied for later will get withdrawn. So yeah, you can't have two applications on at once, and you can only apply to one job every 6 months. Okay, so next question is a lot of it. Thank you, Millie, as well, for helping out and replying to answers in the chat. That is actually so helpful. We don't have long left, so I'm just going to say, what's your one biggest highlight? What's your biggest achievement from when you've worked from PwC at PwC so far? So yeah, you can go around, which is like in line with what we discussed earlier. So yeah, what's your biggest achievement so far?
Yeah, I suppose, we'll just go in the same order. I'd say my biggest achievement would be the huge group of really close like friends that I've made since starting. So honestly, I did not expect to meet as many people and be as close to as many people as I have since joining. Genuinely, like when you join, I'm not sure about other service lines. I'm sure Millie and David will have something to add, but in audit, there's such a big cohort of us all sort of joining at the same time, and you're all sort of in the same boat with the exams. So everyone is, always up for, doing stuff outside of work, and it's just been a great first 9-10 months.
Perfect. I'll go next. Thank you, Noah. I'd say my biggest achievement so far is probably getting on a project in the retail and consumer sector, which is really where I wanted to be before I started. So that felt like a massive achievement when I got asked to join it, and I'm very ingrained in that area. Really cool. We get to work with tons of really interesting companies like John Lewis, Iceland, Asda, Boots, you name it. There's loads and loads of opportunities, and yeah, it's great. It's exactly where I wanted to be. So I'd say that's my biggest achievement so far.
My biggest achievement so far, I'll definitely say the same as Noah said, is the best friends that I've made since I joined. As Noah said, you joined as a group, and you go through all the trainings, all the exams, and you work on the clients together. And what I love about PwC is the teamwork. So you're all in the same boat, and yeah, you make very good friends. Yeah, this is the best thing and my biggest achievement.
So finally, I would say I'm an introvert, and I remember my first client workshop back in October, I was actually quite scared going in front of the client for the first time, and yeah, A month ago, I did a client workshop which I actually helped run. I presented in. I helped run one of the activities, and I remember I built up this really good relationship with the client, the head of recruitment for this global bank, and she was coming flying in from New York and having this joke about whether New York bagels can compete with Brick Lane bagels in London. And I just, yeah, for me, from what I remember, me being in October to where I am now in only 9 months, so I've definitely grown so much professionally.
Great, thank you so much. So we had some really great questions, and I'm sorry we couldn't get to all of them all together, but I hope that the answers that we have given is useful for everyone, and hopefully we go away, have a think about our personal brand. We did have a lot of questions about our actual application process, whether certain people are eligible. Please have a look on our website as to whether or not you're eligible for a specific program, whether that be a grad program. It's all on our website, and when the jobs go on live, it will tell you whether or not you're eligible. So I've had a couple questions about people who are not in their penultimate year wanting to apply for summer internships. So obviously that's due to company policy, that's not possible. But yeah, when you're applying for a job, please make sure that you are actually eligible for that specific job. So have a thorough read of the job description as well. And someone mentioned that it would be good if we could drop our LinkedIn's as well. So I have asked the panel if they are happy to, they will pop their full name into the chat if they are happy for to be added on LinkedIn. Obviously, my name is Snow. I'll pop my name in as well, so please feel free to add me as well. But yeah, and that is it, really. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. It was lovely to meet you all. Massive thank you to our panelists for their time as well. And yeah, best of luck with any exams that you have coming up and also any job applications you have coming up. Thank you so much. Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks
Thank
all.
you.
Bye.